and welcome back to the Grog Hoarders. My name is Paddy, and we are back again in the Kingdoms of Vynn Thorne Coast tour. Unfortunately, be the final part, and it'll probably be the final tour for quite some time while Jacob and I cook up something else to show you, which might be sooner than we think, but it probably won't be. There's still a reasonable amount to do in the next location. But anyway, speaking of the gent, he is joined with us. Hello, Jacob.
Hello! Although I think the name is Oscar Finch last I checked. It's lovely to be back here on the world of Vynn.
It is, and we are finally going to get the Thorne Coast tour over and done with. A sad moment. Thorne Coast is nice, but it's by no means something that I want to showcase forever, because there are grander things on this world, which is basically everything else after the Thorne Coast. The Thorne Coast is the only shithole in the world, and it's a shithole for a reason. But anyway, but just before we begin our tour today, please do consider commenting, and subscribing, and clicking that notification bell, just to give the algorithm a little thumbs up that we're doing a good job. It promotes us more, you know. But anyway, shall we begin, Jacob?
Aye, let's.
Excellent.
Would you care to lead the way?
I shall, and just before I do, I also want to say that part 1 and 2, the links to part 1 and 2 are also in the description below. They are also going to be in the little video element at the end of the video to a wee link that will come up on screen. So do feel free to check them out. Part 1 has all the lore surrounding the Thorne Coast. Now we will get into a bit more lore, but the main lore that you need to know in a very, very fancy cinematic style is in part 1. So do check that out. So anyway, let us begin, shall we? So today's route, we will be starting in Blackthorn, and then we are going to venture down into the mysterious Blackthorn Bazaar, work our way through that, head up into the Thieves Guild. Then, once we finish that, we're going to leave Blackthorn, head back to the crossroads, and finish off the Thorne Coast at the border at Bathurst Trading Post. Now, let us move swiftly on into...
we still have a bazaar to see.
Into the bit I'm looking forward to showing you. This is the centrepiece of Blackthorn. You may think the manor house is the centrepiece, but this is even more of the centerpiece. This is what Blackthorn's truly about. So, as you can see, everything on the surface here looks semi-normal, apart from a few little suspicions. And there has been a lot of talk of Blackthorn Bazaar. Now, if we head down this way here is the black market symbol, and a random bridge. So,
quite the sketchy bridge
if we cross this bridge, and then we look down, this is Blackthorn Bazaar. This is the home of the black market, where everything illegal is sold. Literally anything you can get your hands on, with whether it be harrow spice, other narcotics, magical items, stolen items, everything is sold here. So we'll head down into the many levels of Blackthorn Bazaar. This place is absolutely huge. And it's got these massive wooden platforms that will take you all the way to the bottom. So these platforms do have little stops along the way. So in here we've got the guard barracks. So this is basically where the Blackthorn Bazaar guards basically stay. They're all criminals. They have basically they might have got out of jail. You know, most of these people have been in jail for crimes that's basically are bad, that didn't involve execution. So quite a lot of the guards here you'll find maybe are missing ears, missing fingers, missing tongues, things like that.
If anything, a prison sentence is only a resume to be applied here as a guard for the market.
Exactly. So here we go. This is one of the sad bits of Blackthorn Bazaar. So this little entranceway, if you can see in here, there's literally a bed, a chest, and a few barrels of meat. This is unfortunately the slums of Blackthorn. This is where the poor people go, or the really poor people who can't afford to live in their own house. They live in these little nooks and crevices and alcoves in the walls of Blackthorn Bazaar. And you can see already, as I look down and across, there's loads of them. So if you come in here, they're all different. We'll not go into every one because the premise is the same. But there's another one, and you come in here, there's another one, you know, there's a lot to it. But anyway, let's head up here first. This is a little guard station. There is a couple of little sleeping rules around here for guards. That's literally all it is, and literally a little guard station. Down here and then through here we have just loads of bridges. That's all it is. More nooks over here. And then if you come through in here, this is sort of the central pillar. This is like the sort of the central point of Blackthorn Bazaar, this little cave, and it does have a little alcove going this way. And in here we have weapon storage. Literally there is loads of or just basic storage, and there is also another little storage area in there full of clutter and maybe like old shit, and you can see it's sort of barred off as well. So anyway, let's move swiftly on. Out there is to the second half of Blackthorn Bazaar. Yes, Blackthorn Bazaar is split up into 2 sections. It's that big. So that's the second half of Blackthorn Bazaar, but we are going to continue our tour of the first half. So if we keep coming around here, there's literally just someone sleeping on a sleeping bag. Loads of these wee caves. Literally, there's loads of them. There's a 2-story one, you know, where there's like just 2 in 1. Like it's poor. This whole area is poor. Most of these people have lost out in gambling debts. Maybe a lot of them are addicted to harrow spice and have lost everything. It's just sad, you know. But anyway, so here we are. This is the bottom floor, so there's a little bit of storage there, and loads more alcoves, little alcove houses. But if we come down here, this is the market floor. So we've got loads of wee market stalls here. We've got Mrs. Flintlock's Drugs, which is a harrow spice dealer. We've got Grublet's Slimy Grub, who is a cook, obviously. We have Gerblet's Big Hard Lumber.
You know, I think we're changing that one.
It's alright.
Why did we not name any of this?
It's funny. That one's actually alright. That one's alright. That's an innuendo.
Alright.
It's funny. This one we had to change, which is Azog's Mining Tools, which, yeah. So yeah, we've got Azog's.
Talk about that.
No, we've got Azog's Mining Tools, and then here we have a stall for hire. So there's an empty one if anyone's interested. Wink, wink. Then at the end we have Olag Ball's bludgeoning and stabbing weapons. So by the way, in case you're wondering, Olag Ball is actually a troll. He's an ogre who is actually very intelligent. He has learnt his craft and he makes some of the finest weapons in Blackthorn. Keyword, in Blackthorn, not in Arkadia. Just in Blackthorn.
Yes.
Just in this town, because he's like the only blacksmith here. He's actually shit. Just saying, his stuff breaks and he's a bit of a scammer. But anyway, let's head. Yeah, that's the end of that segment, right? Olag Ball, it's all blocked off with a wall, you know, can't go any further.
Should we head down to the proper heart of the bazaar?
And yes, oh look, a cave that leads down. Let's see that what goes down here. So this, as Jacob says, is the heart of the bazaar. So there's more shops. We've got bits and shits. That was a medium. Literally just loads of chests in here and a little bit more storage.
Then we have something called a rat splicer.
Ah, this.
Apparently, that's about the only livestock in this house.
This I can talk to. I can talk about. This is lore that has been solidified in Blackthorn in our world, right? So this.
Some of the worst lore that you've ever made, but it is lore nonetheless.
Jacob's not wrong. It's terrible lore. So, a rat splicer, let me see, there is a sign here that tells you what a rat splicer is. And a rat splicer is someone who splices rats for no reason. This is what...
What?
Ben and I made this up, right? I made up the name Rat Splicer, and then Ben invented the lore. By the way, I would just like to put it out there, we were like 14.
And no rats have ever been harmed in the production of this.
Oh no, loads of rats have been harmed! Just, plagued ones.
No real life rats, at least.
No real life rats. Just, giant, ugly, plagued ones that spread the blood plague, and that not nasty. But this is the rat splicers. This the rat splicers quarters. Very, very simple. And yeah, it's basically it's a business that only the lowest of the low have. Basically, the ones who can't get a job, they become a rat splicer. And normally, the people who become rat splicers are
unhinged lunatics.
I was actually going to say harrowspice addicted husks.
I mean, that works too. They both go hand in hand.
I know, it keeps them out of trouble. So here we have McFlanagan's Relics. This is a magic enchantment store. Lots of magic stuff.
It's pretty illegal from what I remember.
Yeah, magic is very much outlawed in Arkadia. Ever since the Purge, actually, because the Mages Conclave, who is the biggest sort of faction of mages in the land, which used to operate from Arkadia, actually backed the King of Arkadia and condemned the Templar Order for executing him. And so what did the Grand Master of the Templar Order do? He outlawed them. And any magic ability, anyone caught with a magical ability, or anyone suspected of having a magical ability will be burnt at the stake. So, there you go. There's some more dark lore. Moving on, we've got Mr. Woo's Potions and Narcotics. So here we have a little drug labs here. Or a little drug store. And then if we come up here, we've got Mother Madre's Enchanting, which is another magic store. Very, very simple. And in here, we've got Mikado's Smokehouse, with some very dodgy looking meat. And then if we move up to here, we have the Blood Feast, which is probably the coolest part of Blackthorn Bazaar. This is the tavern. So here we are. This is inside the tavern. It's a shithole. It's really where people will gamble their lives away in the fighting pits, but we'll get to that in a minute. In here we have the kitchens, or the poorest excuse of a kitchen that has ever existed in the history of mankind. And yeah, there's literally just a cave. And then we come over to here, and then, behind the bar, we also have mead storage. Not wine this time, mead storage. Because, or ale storage, or grog, or something. Really not the cheapest of cheap. In here is the sleeping area. This is where the guests live. This is accommodation. And I would just like to say, whoever sleeps in this bed here, God love you. Or that bed in there, God love you. And this is basically beds to rent if you're staying the night. Anyone can stay here. It's a shithole, so obviously the lowest of the low stay in here. And then in here we have the Blood Feast, which is the fighting pit. So here is the most dangerous looking arena. Basically what happens is the Blackthorn guards, or Lord Thorn's goons, will literally just capture lone wanderers and lone vagabonds off the street, or off the roads in the Thorne Coast, and basically bring them back here, and they are basically made to fight to the death, and if they don't, they get killed. But if they do fight to the death and win, they'll be giving a large sum of money, and they will be sent on their way. And that is, as you can see, it is very difficult to win the Blood Feast. In here is the prison cells where they capture all the people. It's very... this is where all the captured people go. We do have a functioning jail cell in here.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, none of the other jail cells are actually functioning. But then, if you come over here, we have the armory, where where basically everyone is kitted out. And then in here we have the burning room, where all the dead bodies are burnt. And I'm just going to burn myself here. That goes up to a big chimney that is sort of hidden in the forest outside Blackthorn. Oh, watch yourself, Jacob.
That's alright. It's getting me a little bit cold down
little
here.
Toasty. And yeah, down here is like into the actual Blood Feast arena itself. As you can see, it is an absolute shit show down here. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So then that is the Blood Feast out of the way. And if we come up to here, we have sort of like a little lookout over the first part of Blackthorn Bazaar. And then we have the second part. So here we have another stall for hire. Geralt's mutated potions, a little Witcher reference there. And here we go is Vladimir's relics. Who Vladimir is a great lord, or not lord, but he is a local of Ellador. Then we've got Thermrod's not so fresh meat, complete with its built-in cold storage.
Not so cold storage.
Not so cold storage, by the way. And then we'll head up into the scaffolds of the second part of the bazaar, and I am not reading that out, but if you can read, you can pause the video. This here is another small brothel. This is Florence's. Yeah, I'm done.
It's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah. Moving on. Oh, sorry, I said Olag Bal. Oh, by the way, sorry, I should also say that there is also loads of these little alcoves again. There's loads of them. It's basically a city out down here with these
brothers
alcoves
that are destitute, poor, and just on hard times.
I also forgot to say that Olag Bal, I actually lied. Olag Bal is not the best blacksmith in Blackthorn.
Second best, maybe.
Amarak's Dwarven Armory is. Now, this is a good blacksmith. This is one of the best blacksmiths in the country. The only problem is he's a rogue and he only makes for criminals, or the black market. So this is his little armory, his little forge, proper dwarven forge, complete with bellow, and then he has a little bed up there where he can rest. He's a very, very popular blacksmith in Blackthorn. But anyway, moving very swiftly on, we're going to go up to the very, very top of Blackthorn. At the very top. So now, if we come up to this point here, this is at the very, very, very top of Blackthorn Bazaar. It's probably the highest point with anything significant on it. So there's a couple of things up in this sort of very small corner. A lot of very important things. So, first of all, we'll come into this sort of sketchy looking building here. This is what Blackthorn would call a church, which is a very old church.
Definitely not as grand as you might see at other times.
No, it's not. The whole thing is basically built into the rock, and it's very old. It's actually older than Blackthorn itself.
And this is the church that would have taken over for the one for the manor house when that was occupied by the Thorns.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. This church itself was literally a bunch of old ruins that they discovered when they were building Blackthorn Bazaar, and since Lord Thorn took over the manor house, or took over the temple, which he turned into his manor house, the population had no choice but to turn their holy place of worship down into the bazaar and basically make something out of this sort of ruined temple of old. Thing is, nobody actually knows how old this temple is. There is a civilization that predates the current humans in Vynn, and that is the Aegis, which is a population of savage, vile, upper class elves, high elves, basically, who were hungry for power, and they basically enslaved the entire human population until basically the humans rebelled, and they got in, they killed the Aegis king, and all of a sudden, literally a few months later, the entire Aegis population just disappeared without a trace, without any kind of warning. All of a sudden, one time they just were there, the next day they weren't, and nobody is an absolute mystery about what happened to them. And the only thing that has been left is the husks of their temples and the husks of their once fantastic cities, which are now all ruined, and only a few of them, which are underground, actually remain. So yeah, this is probably one of those temples that has literally just been left in the cliffside, and now the population of Blackthorn are using it as their place of worship. So yeah, you're just sitting listening intently, aren't you, Jacob?
That I am. As any good pupil of the word would.
Exactly.
You don't want to be put on a cross by the Templars.
This is actually a church to a specific god. Actually, they turned this into a chapel of Noctros, who in this world is the god of shadows, and he is basically the Blackthorn is a shadowy place. Of course, it's normal that the chosen god to worship here is Noctros. So yeah, there we go. Now if we come this way, and there is literally like a little viewpoint out into the bustling bazaar below, and yeah, that is basically the church. So,
well, definitely a place that you can always come and worship, but you might get shanked on the way down with this bazaar, eh?
Yeah, that's the problem. And even still, like everything in Blackthorn, this church is a hive of corruption in the fact that you have to pay a fee to go into it, which is seen as a mandatory donation.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they take absorptions of sins through money as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, this is an area that is a dead end of Blackthorn. There's a little desk here. There's a little bell. No one actually. To the look of this, it looks like a perfectly normal alcove that just sort of ends. Nothing too special. Apart from this weird-looking window that Jacob is looking through at the minute.
Hello there.
Hello. I demand entry into the Thieves Guild, please.
And what's the passcode?
There's a passcode?
Why, of course. It's a Thieves Guild, what do you expect?
Jacob is handsome.
close enough. Committed.
So, there we go. The all of a sudden, the door has opened, and we can now gain access into the Thieves Guild. So this is the little booth that Jacob was in. This is basically the doorman to the Thieves Guild. This is probably the most secret area of Blackthorn. Yes, the black market run the Bazaar, but the Thieves Guild is basically its own entity that is in partnership with the black market, but it is very much a very secretive organization, and this is their Arcadian headquarters. That's literally this is where all the operations in all of Arcadia are held. So if you come in here, there is a little entranceway, very normal. There's some chests full of stolen goods. This room is actually more than an entryway. Actually, this is the fence. So there's a few wee chests where you can like shop around. This is sort of the fence's desk, where you can actually give you money if you turn in some stolen goods and sell stolen goods to you as well. So that's the fence. If we come through here, this is the auction house. So, but before we actually go in there, this is the lavatory.
Well, I guess they actually have something a little bit more than a bucket of shit in here.
It is. They've got a toilet that gets emptied by their caretaker every day. Now, there is a slight problem with this lavatory. Would you mind going and sitting on the lavatory, Jacob? Just while we point this out.
Sure.
This Ben boy again. Ben and I designed this lavatory literally with this joke in mind. So you're going into the auction house, and if I just go in here and hello, Jacob.
Hello.
Having a shit, are we?
For a show?
Having a shit, are we?
Hi.
And just to make things even worse, but if you head back on the toilet again, Jacob.
Really?
Just in here.
You could use some curtains.
You could have quite the peep. Because obviously this area is still crumbling. It's old as well. But this area is the auction house for the Thieves Guild. Little pew seats, and then up here is the actual auction stage where the auctioneer will fence off stolen goods, and there's all this stuff that's waiting to be auctioned off. And yeah, really a lot of dodgy things that go on down here. So if we move on round, we have let me see what direction. That way's up to the entrance. Let's go this way. So this way is down to the Guildmaster's quarters, actually. So this is sort of the Guildmaster's secretary, if the world has secretaries, but basically the scribe, basically, writing all the notes and keeping ledgers and criminal ledgers and stuff. That is basically the desk that they work at. And in here is the Guildmaster's office. So there is a lot of things. This has got a big expansive desk. He's got lots of valuables over here, and then down in here is his actual room where he stays. And as you can see, it's for living in a cave. It's
pretty luxurious.
It's quite luxurious. He's got a big bed, table, everything that a guildmaster needs to keep him occupied. Even quite an extensive book collection. But anyway, moving on. We'll head down this way, deeper into the guild, and we head down here to this very fortified looking area. This is the Thieves Guild vault. This is the most secretive, most richest place in the entirety of Arcadia, with the exception of the Templar vaults. Which is about 10 times the size, well, maybe 20 times the size, and like 100 times more richer than this. It's actually, but actually, when I say that, it's Arcadia that this is in, right? It's the richest place in Arcadia. The richest place in the world is actually over in Samukhai, in the banking clan vaults of Obadiah. Where they are spectacular, apparently. in the world. Everyone in the east has heard of the grand vaults of Samukhai and the banking clan, and it is apparently a sight to behold. But only members of the banking clan can go in and have a look. Anyway, I bet you all are wondering what's behind these heavy vault doors. Jacob, would you mind flicking the switch over there for me? And we shall show them.
Do.
There we go. And this opens up the vault, and as you can see, we are now in a very secure area. And you come down here, and this is the Thieves Guild treasure vault, full of wonderful treasures, items,
emeralds, gold,
diamonds,
iron, lapis,
all the exotic
even
items.
An egg of mysterious origins.
An egg of mysterious origins, even magical artifacts are all in here. Anything that is deemed rich or valuable. This whole area is what this is for. But anyway, moving swiftly on. So we come out of the actual vaults themselves. Just close them up. Thank you, Jacob. And we'll head out here, and we are now. So now we've seen the fence, the auction house, and the Guildmaster's quarters. Now it's time to move into the Thieves Guild proper, which is done through this little entrance here, and down into the deeper parts. This Thieves Guild is huge, by the way. It is the capital, the Thieves Guild center of Arcadia. So you come down here, and this is the Blackthorn sewer system. The disused sewer system. It's not it's old. It's an ancient sewer system that's may or may not have been once upon a time used by the Aegis, and it's all crumbling and not very nice. But the Thieves Guild have called it home. They've fixed it. They've kind of spruced it up a bit. We will head this way first. We'll actually go down before we head down. Before we head to before we look at this floor, we'll head down to the deepest part of the Thieves Guild, because that only makes sense. So here we go, we've got more stairs going even deeper down. In here we have more storage, more stolen goods. And if we head down to here, this is the speakeasy. This is literally where the Thieves Guild members come, have a drink, discuss a job well done when they complete heists, or they literally just get pished, and it's all lovely. We have literally bog standard tavern, definitely nicer than the Blood Feast in Blackthorn Bazaar. But this booth here, this area here, this is the Guildmaster's booth, where the Guildmaster and all the higher-ups will come in here and sit and discuss plans, and it's a canopied off area, and it's all very secretive, and this is where they discuss the most sensitive of business over a drink. So that's that, and then if you come through here, this is the bar area, which has a more expansive kitchen than the Blood Feast in the Bazaar. So much better than the Blood Feast. The Blood Feast is an absolute tip. But the Thieves Guild, yes, they live in a cave, but they do know how to look after their members and have an expansive kitchen with a very good cook. It sort of just helps. And then through here we have the cook's quarters, just very, very basic. So then moving down here we have the mead storage, the food storage, and the cold storage all in one. Well, sort of cold storage. It's big at a cave. This does get quite cold, but it's mostly for the mead. But look, we'll head on out, and we shall head back up to the main sort of atrium of the Thieves Guild. So if I can find my way out, here it is. Right, so then we will come up to here again, and now that we're back in the central part of the Thieves Guild, we will head this way down this sort of river, or creek, or underground stream. And because of the underground stream and just the climate in here, like, plants actually do manage to grow here, even though they're probably not as nice as what it would be like topside, but plants do grow here. Down here is the training grounds, where they practice their lock picking, their pickpocketing, their combat skills, their unarmed combat, and their ranged combat, in case they need them. But everyone sort of hopes in the Thieves Guild that they don't have to enter a combat scenario, and they will get away without any issues. So that's it's got a couple of archery targets over there, little fighting pit in the middle, you know, just very, very basic. So that is that. And then this is Larry's quarters.
Is there a reason why it's so horribly misspelled?
Yes, because Larry is he's a bit like a Hodor type character from Game of Thrones. If you know, you know. If you don't, look him up. Larry is the caretaker of. No, he's not. Larry is the doorman of the Thieves Guild, and he is. Put it this way, he has only got this job because he's related to the Guildmaster, and he is actually good for nothing else. Larry would actually probably wouldn't be alive because he's not very sensible, our Larry, and you can see Larry has got a great job spelling, which is Larry's cap iot or sell you will be pinched. That basically translates to Larry's room, keep out or you'll be punched. And this is his quarters here. It's no different from the alcoves in the walls of Blackthorn Bazaar. Right. In fact, the actual alcoves in Blackthorn Bazaar actually would be luxury compared to this. But anyway, let's head on up to the end of the main atrium, and this is the sleeping quarters for the Thieves Guild. Very basic bunk beds. That's all they need. The people who live in the Thieves Guild. There was it, sorry?
So there's quite a few bunk beds, that's for sure.
There's those. This is where all this is basically a place to stay. Most of the thieves will operate in specific towns, but in case they need to come here, there's always a bed for them, and there's always plenty of them because the Thieves Guild is expansive. There is another Thieves Guild branch in here, in Arkadia, and that is in the capital city of Arkadia, Tenebrae, in the Undercity, which is a giant cave system underneath the city that's home to the slums of the city. And there is a Thieves Guild branch in there, but it is nowhere near as expansive as this. This is the capital for the Thieves Guild. This is where this is the hub for where they come to do their business. Anyway, so if we head up here, this is the last part of the Thieves Guild. This will take us out, and it will let us go topside. This is like a secret entrance that the members use to get in and out instead of having to crawl through the bazaar. And oh, the gate's already open, thank goodness. And this will take us out here into the woods.
Quite the secret little exit way, that's for sure.
And I am just trying to figure out where we are.
Oh, it looks like we never bothered to connect this region here.
No, we did. There's just a tree growing on it.
Yeah, I see the little path there.
Yeah, there we go. So here we go. So yeah, sorry, excuse me for mining through that. So yeah, the Thieves Guild comes out there, and we come through here, and this is where it takes us out to, which is the little statue of Xerxes that's out in the middle of nowhere, that is from the temple. So that is Blackthorn, and there's literally, you've seen everything that there is to see in Blackthorn. And yeah, as you can see, what would be a quaint little town has got a very deep, dark secret underneath. And it is probably one of the most dodgiest places to go. Not to quote Star Wars, but it really is. You will not find a bigger hive of scum and villainy in this in this world. Maybe over in the Tenebrae Undercity, or maybe the likes of like Samukhai or even Bergema, but that is probably the dodgiest place because it's so hidden in plain sight. Anyway, so now we'll head back through these dodgy woods, and we will go to our final location in the Thorne Coast, which is at the border of the Thorne Coast, which is a fitting place to end. So, if we come through here, this back up to the signpost, we have Bathurst is the last place to go. If we come through here, if we come up here, now we're getting into sort of the... We're going into central Arkadia here. Now, obviously, we're not going into it today, but you will see bits of it. This is the last location of the Thorne Coast. This here is Bathurst Trading Post, which is a giant trading post that's on the border between the Thorne Coast and Cragmar. The reason that this exists is because in order to get trade up in the Thorne Coast, Lord Thorne has decided to make the prices of stalls and markets a lot cheaper. And so everyone's sort of moved in here, but the problem is to get this, A, Sea Point isn't big enough to house them all, and B, the price and the route to Sea Point is too steep. Like the toll bridge, you'll have to go through the toll bridge at Winch, or the toll lift at Winch, which costs an arm and a leg. Most merchants don't want to do that, and then when you actually get to Sea Point, it's just not big enough to house them all. So they built this temporary structure, this sort of weird sort of market, this like giant market, and this is where all the trade in the Thorne Coast is. Obviously all the profits that are made here, they go to Lord Thorne. Well, not all the profits, but a sum of the profits go to Lord Thorne, and he prospers off Blackthorn or Bathurst Trading Post quite a lot. And yeah, let's have a little look at what we've got here. So here we just have a random unnamed market stall. I think this is sort of just a bit of a trinket area. There is beds for the traders to sleep in, or maybe this is an inn, or maybe it's. I actually, hang on, no, sorry, I'll tell a lie. This is actually where people can come in and sleep, but in case they're wanting a bed for the night.
I've never seen an inn in a tent before, but well, I guess there's a first for everything. It's
temporary. It's all sort of temporary accommodation. We do have a couple of tents that traders live in about. Like literally, this is just a sleeping tent. Here we have. This is the Mystics of the East stall.
Would this be yet more magic taboo?
No, it's not, because this is now in the legitimate business and magic is outlawed. So this area is very, very this stall is quite interesting in the fact that this is one of the only stalls in Arkadia that sells ornaments and trinkets from the eastern kingdoms of Arkadia. So from Samukhai, from Kyrosh, all of those areas, even the Chimera Isles underneath the Kyroshi Empire. This is where the Arcadians come to buy it, or so they think. Because I'm sure you can probably guess the East is a very mysterious place in Arkadia. We'll be exploring the East in a very, very future video, but to the Arcadian population, the East is a mystery. No one really knows what's over here, and no one's really explored because any ships the Templars send over go missing. So yeah, that's so basically what I'm trying to say is everything in this market stall is fake. And
even the legitimate items that they might sell are all just reproductions of what they imagine to come from that land.
it's what they imagine to cover their lives. Nothing here is actually from the east. And no one actually knows what the items are in these. This guy has literally just invented a load of fake items that he says that the east use, and that is it. So over here, what do we have here? We have Belgrade's fresh meat. Oh Jesus, that is a graphic scene. Oh God,
Yeah,
his
fresh
ears
is one way of putting it.
Oh God, his ears are still moving. I didn't know that. So yeah, this is the butchery. Unlike Blackthorn, his meat's actually quite good. He basically slaughters all his pigs, so these are the cages that the animals would be in. As you can see, there is not much room. Obviously, PETA doesn't exist over here, so the butchers can do whatever the hell they like with their livestock. And he basically he kills them, slaughters them, and butchers them here, and that's why there's loads of blood and pig heads, boar heads with flappy ears. Fuck. Anyway, so moving very swiftly on, this is the food stand. So here you can, this is basically the equivalent in our world of a takeaway. You can sit, you can enjoy a nice sort of bowl of soup or some fresh meat or something that's at this food stand, and it is... Yeah, that's basically all it is. There's nothing more to say about this. It is just a food stand. Over here we have like a little mead seller that sells some of the finest meads of around Arkadia. This is the blacksmith. So he's got a proper little setup, proper little forge, proper, yeah, just a nice little setup for a tent, a blacksmith tent. Not really a blacksmith
You wouldn't
building.
expect to see a blacksmith in a small temporary market like this, but
No.
I guess it has been here for so many years, so they thought, oh, might as well set up a more permanent item to spare.
This place does do surprisingly well, and because Lord Thorne charges cheap rent here, all the prices are very good, very reasonable. So a lot of people from far and wide actually do come to the Bathurst trading post to trade. Here we have a little gypsy wagon. That's just a little tent, but this is a little gypsy wagon. This is just your average traveling salesman who has set up their own little business. So if you come up here, this is where they sleep. Cute little area, little literally that's it. Just a wee sleeping accommodation and little area where they can control their horses, and it's literally just a cute little gypsy caravan. Now the only thing is this caravan is placed in a very unfortunate position in the fact that this sort of Assassin's Creed like viewpoint is not an Assassin's Creed viewpoint. This is the toilet.
Oh.
Where people just sort of squat over the edge.
Is that why there's skulls down there? Someone's having a really hearty diet.
Yeah, there's skulls over here. There's soul sand. There's brown terracotta. You can picture in your imagination what this represents. And there's even a little bit of blood in that one there. Someone obviously has a tremendous bowel problem, but that is basically the toilet. And then if we head through this way, just moving anti-clockwise around, we've got more tents, more basic just traveling salesman tents that have just been set up. Over here we have, this is a bathhouse. So obviously it's not very well covered up. So you've got a bath here, and there's like sort of like a little sort of, well, you can sort of, yeah, this is supposed to be like a little changing area, but it's not very good. And then in here we've got Madame Nelazar's Herbs and Spices. basically your average herbalist. She can brew potions, concoctions, everything like that. All legal, by the way, not magical potions. Literally just your average chamomile tea and things like that. And yeah, that is basically Bathurst trading post. There's nothing else left to see other than a couple of these fancy tents, little sitting area by the fire. Nothing else to report. Now, if we come out here, there is all these sort of wagons where all that have sort of been left, and there is a check-in area for wagons. So if you want to stall, you have to check it, sign in here, and then you can sort of set up a pitch somewhere in the actual trading post. And these wagons are actually waiting to get set up. But anyway, so now we're going to head this way. And before we get on the Bathurst Bridge, here is another little gypsy caravan. He was unlucky that there is actually no room for him, so he has decided to make a little plot of his own. And if you come up here, this has a little bit more of a comfortable interior. Actually, he has a little cooking stove and a couple of barrels of mead just to keep him occupied. But he will sell his wares here. And he also has a tiny little campfire over here where he can sort of sit and relax. And a trough for his horses too. But anyway, look, I'm stalling. So this is the last section of the Thorne Coast. This is Bathurst Bridge. This giant structure basically separates the Thorne Coast from Cragmar. And this is the border post. Now, Bathurst Bridge actually doubles up. Not only is it a major trade bridge where everyone has to cross to get into the Thorne Coast, but it also doubles up as a tavern. So there are these sort of stable stalls here where, if you wish, you can hitch your horse up here, and then you can go up to here. And this is a very rough and ready. Actually, this actually needs a little bit of an update. But this is another very old build. But this is Bathurst Bridge Tavern. And it's basically, you can sit here, you can stop, you can get a drink, you can relax. You can't stay here though. You'll have to like book in to one of the residential tents over there, or chance your luck in the Blood Feast at Blackthorn Bazaar, or just keep heading to... Or there's also the liftman's wench as well. And that is it. That is Bathurst Bridge. And with that concludes the Thorne Coast. There's nothing else left to show you.
Not for now, at least.
Not for now.
The next region that we have to one day look at would be the region of Cragmore, but we have a few older builds that we'll be showing off next.
A few older builds. The next location, all being well, that's we're excited to show you. We'll just spoil it for you already. We're actually going over to Jacob's neck of the woods. We are going to the island of Lonelight, which is another old build that actually, believe it or not, predates the Thorne Coast. But if you ask me, I think it ages very well. It's basically, the style is a little bit like Absconder Home, but on a much larger, grander scale. But then after that, we will return here. We will start again at Bathurst Bridge, and we shall explore Cragmore, which hasn't been built yet, apart from one town, which is the town of Bathurst, which we shall end this video by letting you have a little sneak preview at what to expect in
Quite the skyline.
Cragmore. This is the town of Bathurst, and it is, as you can see, this is considered a minor town in Cragmore. As you can see, it's about twice the size of Sea Point, which is the main town of of the Thorne Coast. Cragmore is also it will also be very exciting to showcase, because Cragmore will be home to the very first city that we are going to see, which is Ironmont. So you'll have to just stay tuned for that. And yeah, unfortunately, this is where our tour ends. We are not actually going to go and have a closer look at Bathurst today. So we're very sorry about that. You'll just have to wait till we do our Cragmore tour. And on that terrible disappointment, it is time to end. Thank you so much for watching, and please, please, please like, comment, and subscribe. Click that notification bell and leave us a little comment on the algorithm. In fact, do you know what you could comment below? I genuinely would be fascinated now that you've seen all 3 points, or all 3 parts of the Thorne Coast. What I would genuinely love to know, and what Jacob and I would genuinely love to know, is if you were a civilian of the Thorne Coast, where would you live? Comment down below. And on that note, we will see you next time, whenever that may be. Say goodbye, Jacob.
Adios, everybody. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye now.